Hi everyone, welcome to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got a crafting podcast for you today. So, I actually have a lot of stuff to show you, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about things I'm thinking should be my goals going into 2026 because of the way I handled crafting for the past year. So, this is now my second school year being back at work truly full-time. The year before that, I was subbing most of the year for covering some like long-term leave positions, but I feel like since then I've been kind of on a mission to figure out a solid balance between working full-time as a teacher, so I do have summers off, and maintaining this YouTube channel. And there have been just a couple points throughout the last year and a half-ish where maintaining both has gotten a little bit tricky. I'm sure you've noticed that there have been some missing videos here and there. There have been some videos where I've had to like redo content because I lost part of it, or like I started a video for a project and then never finished it. So I'm going to talk more in depth in January about my 2026 crafting goals, but I want to kind of just give that little teaser of like, during this holiday season, want to start some of my goals for sustainable crafting. And part of that is I want to work towards being a crafter who works mostly on one project at a time, maybe two. However, I have quite a bit of ways to go to get to that point, so it's going to be a little interesting. But I would like my ultimate goal to be to have one project I'm filming and one project I'm not filming at a time, and try to keep it that way. Hopefully with the project I'm not filming being something that's a little bit more relaxing, more intuitive, more like TV knitting, and the project that I'm filming being something that I'm really passionate about making, maybe something with a new technique, something just a little bit more, because I am getting tired of feeling overwhelmed by crafting. I don't want that to be my crafting experience, and I'm starting to take some small steps towards doing that. But one of the big things that I need to finish in order to make that happen is to start really reducing my number of whips. So that will be part of why I have so many finished objects this month, is because I've really tried to dial in and finish things that have been sitting in a basket, especially those things that are like 90% finished, just to get them done and get them out of the way. I will say the caveat to this whole plan is that I still plan on having scrap projects running at any given time, but those are not projects with a deadline. Those are projects just to use up leftovers, use up scraps. So that's kind of the like little asterisk on this whole thing of like two main projects and things to use up scraps. The other kind of like side goal that I plan on implementing is really trying to use stash up, because at this point, I mean, you can see behind me, I have so much yarn. I have more in the cabinets under there. I even have some like budget acrylic stored in like the laundry room part of my basement. So I really want to, I'm not going to say put myself on a yarn ban, because I don't think that that's sustainable long term, but I think that now when I buy yarn for myself, it's not going to be just like mindless impulse purchases at big box stores. I want to, you know, pick up special things from local craft stores and focus on working with fibers that I know that I will enjoy wearing, especially because I've kind of realized that I don't like wearing things made out of acrylic as much as natural fibers. So I've got that kind of going in my head too. But with all that being said, we're going to start with a little bit of a yarn haul, because I did do that in the last month. So I had 2 yarn shopping experiences, actually 3. One of them was just going to Hobby Lobby, and I'll talk about what I purchased in a minute for that. But that was I went to Hobby Lobby to get yarn because I had a specific project in mind. It was not just mindless purchasing of stuff. And it was something where I knew exactly what yarn I wanted going into it. So that I don't really count as like a shopping experience, and that item is already finished, so you'll actually see what it was up here in a minute. But I went to one yarn store that's like pretty local to me, and then one yarn store that's in Missouri because I was traveling for holiday stuff. So the yarn store close to me is called Fiberwood Studios, and it's like within like 20 minutes of where I currently live. And I went in there kind of to kill time between some events. It was like after work and kind of on the way to something else that I was going to, so I stopped in for a few minutes, and I saw a yarn that I was really excited about and decided that I wanted to try it. And I've had a yarn similar to this before, taking out all my random papers, and even from the same line, but a different fiber content. So I ended up leaving that yarn store with 4 balls of the Barocco Sesame, and I believe in the past I've purchased 1 ball of the Barocco Summer Sesame, which is all cotton. This one is 43% wool, 39% acrylic, 9% cotton, 9% nylon. So it's a good, like, it doesn't feel like harsh like wool. It feels a little bit more cottony than I would have expected with the percentages, but it's a nice, like, pretty bouncy, but not like super heavy feeling yarn. So I got 2 balls in this colorway, which I think the colors just have numbers. So this is 7469. It goes through some like mustardy tones, a little bit of olive green, grays, blacks, burgundies, and purples, and some bright red too. But I thought that this was a really unique colorway. I don't have a specific plan for what I'm going to do with this yet, but I have been kind of feeling, now that it's gotten cold out, that I would like some more hats in my wardrobe. So I thought that this was a great color because my dress coat is black and wool. So I thought that this would be a fun way to add kind of a pop of color when I am wearing that dressier coat. I have, however, since then purchased a like sage green puffer coat, which this is obviously not going to match. But I still think that this is quite a fun color. The other colorway I got, the lady in the shop informed me that this colorway is actually being discontinued, which makes me really sad because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. This one has some deep emerald greens, some sapphire tones. It does have some of the like mustardy yellows and oranges and reds in there, and even like a tiny bit of like a violet in it. And this is colorway 7448. Also in the Barocco Sesame, so it has the same fiber content. This one I think will go a little bit better with my puffer coat, although my puffer coat is like a more vibrant sagey green. But since there's so many shades of green in this, I think it'll still work. So both of these sets of yarns will probably become a beanie and some sort of a scarf or neck warmer cowl situation. So I guess I kind of purchased them with a plan, just not like a super specific one, but I do know what I want to use them for. So that was yarn haul number 1. Yarn haul number 2 was because I traveled to Missouri to visit family over Thanksgiving, and when I'm there, I really like going to the Seven Sisters yarn store. They recently, like in the last year or so, maybe in the last 2 years, because it's been a while since I've been down to St. Louis, they switched locations, so they now have a really nice storefront. They have more room for crafting sessions and classes, which I am not able to partake in the time frame that I'm usually there, but I really enjoyed getting to see their new space. I was really excited by what I saw in there. So the first thing I bought, I'm going to say this with the preface of, if you are one of my in-laws, do not watch this video because I purchased stuff for your Christmas presents for 2026. And this kind of started as a funny story. So I really like making hand knit gifts. That's something that I don't mind doing, but I am very aware of the time commitment it takes for me to make hand knit gifts. So I've been trying out a system for the past couple of years where I alternate which side of the family gets the handmade gifts. So this year I did my immediate family. And when I say immediate, it's like my parents and my brother, like truly only my growing up nuclear family is counted in this. And then I flip and do my in-laws in the opposite years. But last year in 2024, I gave all of my in-laws knit socks for Christmas. And I guess it was a big hit because they requested them again. And it was kind of at the point in the year where I knew I was going to be struggling to finish the Christmas gifts I had already committed to and already bought supplies for. So I went ahead and decided for sure that hand knit socks are going to be part of their Christmas gift for 2026. So I think that was enough of an intro for any of my in-laws who might be watching this. My sister-in-law is usually the culprit there, to get off of this video because I'm going to show the colorways that I purchased. So I ended up getting them all sock yarn in the same brand because I wanted the heel, toe, and cuff color to be the same for all of them. So these are all Opal Yarns brand, and the coordinating color I got for all of them for the heels, toes, and socks is this dusty blue color. So this is from the Opal pullover and sock and wool line. It does not, oh, it's all in German. So the color name, I believe, means blue jeans. I'm just guessing. Come on, camera focus. There is the label. I think that's where it says the color. Yeah. Jeansblau. I'm assuming that pronunciation is not correct, but it's the blue jean colorway. Nice, lovely, dusty blue. Then for my father-in-law, I got this purple, gray, cream, dusty blue patterned yarn. He specifically is the one who really wanted socks for Christmas and specifically said any color, any pattern, doesn't matter. This is also from the Opal Tea Time line. This is what the label looks like. And I can't tell what the color name is. It says something about Edelweiss. Are these scented? I think it says with Edelweiss extract and something about vitamin E on there. So maybe this is like, you know, like the socks that have lotion in them. Maybe this is like that. I don't know. It doesn't feel any different than normal yarn, but it definitely says something about Edelweiss on it. I also don't know what the color name means on this one, but it's this. My camera will focus. I think that word starting with P is the color name. I'm not really sure, but it's a lovely color. And my father-in-law does some stuff at Mass at their local church to help out, so I thought having socks that were Advent and Lent colored would be fun. Then for my mother-in-law, I got this colorway. It's got some like minty blues, some teal, some like pinky purple, red, and black. And this is from the Opal Aquarelle colorway. And I also don't know what the colorway name means on this one, but there it is. And you can see the patterning on the sock. I guess you could on the other one too. So this is kind of a self-striping, but I thought it was still pretty with that dusty blue. And then for my sister-in-law, this one is also from the Opal Tea Time collection. It's got blue, turquoise, like a, not a lime green, maybe like a soft lime green, and kind of a rose and a pink. And this one, I think the color name means ambiance or ambient. But there's the colorway name and the striping pattern. I'm very intrigued by this yarn label. I'll have to get out Google Translate and see if I can figure out what it says on here. But also, if anybody speaks German or is familiar with this yarn, I'd be very curious what it is. All of these are 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide. I think that that's the same for all of them. Looks like it is. Just checking the last one. Yeah, all of them are 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide. That part is translated into English, so I can read that part. But this is, I should hold all the colors together, what they'll look like kind of paired. So I tried to pick ones that all coordinated with that dusty blue so that they could all have the same heel-toe cuff color. Or maybe just heel-toe color for some of them because I don't want to run out. And then the last thing I got is actually more Barocco. This is Barocco Remix Light, which is 100% recycled fibers, 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, 9% linen. And I can't see the colorway name on that one. I can't see it on that one either. They've put stickers on them. Yeah, the die lot number is not really going to help me in this case. So if it has a color name, the color name is sadly covered on all of these, but it is the turquoise colorway. And I thought this yarn was very cool because it's a fairly lightweight yarn. It does feel definitely more like a cotton blend. It doesn't have any wooliness to it, which is good because there's no wool in it. But it feels very lightweight, very summery. So I got 6 of these, and I'm thinking that they'll turn into a tank top or a short-sleeved sweater, something that can be worn in the summer, probably over a t-shirt dress or with a tank top and like jean shorts. But I thought this color was really pretty, and I like all the flecks of other tones in it as well. So that is my Seven Sisters yarn haul. They gave me the big bag when I was there. All right, moving on to some finished objects. We're first going to start with the one that was the reason for my Hobby Lobby haul. Actually, there's a couple on here that were the reason for the Hobby Lobby haul. The first of which was a prayer shawl. We have a family friend who's going through some medical stuff right now, so I wanted to make her a prayer shawl. So we picked this white color with all the little flecks in it. Unfortunately, I don't remember the color name, and I don't have the yarn labels anymore, but I know it's the I Love This Yarn brand. And I did this in corner to corner stitch with a crab stitch edging, which is that backwards single crochet stitch. So it gave it kind of a nice drapey fabric without feeling like it had too many holes in it. So it's nice and cozy. But this is what I went in there for. While I was there, because I went with my mom, we also found a pack of crochet thread, and actually the box is over here, so I will just grab the box real fast. It was a pack of crochet thread. It's this Artiste brand. We found them on an end cap and they were on sale, but it came with 15 colorways of this like little crochet thread stuff. I think that I could get easily like 4, maybe 5 rosaries out of each one. But I have been crocheting rosaries for many years. Originally, this was a pattern, I think the original version of the pattern I found way back when I was in high school. I cannot find the original pattern anymore. I have lost the link. I think I originally found it on Pinterest. It's been a really long time, and I've kind of adapted and changed the pattern over the years just to suit the yarn I'm working with or the colors that I'm working with. But essentially, you do little puff stitches or cluster stitches to make all the beads, and you just do bigger cluster stitches for the Our Father. The only place where it gets tricky is doing the centerpiece and the little cross at the end. But we also made this for the same friend. She really likes bright pink and bright turquoise, so I thought that this was a perfect color for her, and it goes really nicely with the prayer shawl. The third thing that I got from Hobby Lobby was this scrubby dishcloth yarn, because my mom has been asking me forever to make her a back scrubber for in the shower. So I used this scrubby dishcloth yarn, And I did this in a front post, back post double crochet rib stitch and put these 2 wooden loops on either end. This is something I think I do want to make for myself as well, so let me know in the comments if you would like a tutorial for these. I did get the rings on Amazon after the fact. I've made a couple of these in the past before and always just crocheted the handles, so they were just like little soft loops, but I think the wooden handles on it adds like a professional quality to it a little bit. I also think it just happened to pair really well with this yarn. So those were the 3 things that I got at Hobby Lobby, all clearly with specific purpose. So I didn't mind so much that I went to that store for those things. Moving on to some other finished objects, because I've been trying to crank out projects to just get them out of the way so that I can kind of like reorganize, let my space breathe a little bit, because it's feeling very cluttered and claustrophobic in here. So I really want to kind of wrap things up in that department. The first thing that I pushed myself to finish was my Evermore socks. These were socks that I originally started, I think, 2 or 3 times a couple months ago. They're finally done. At this point, I'll flip it so you can see the cables. At this point, the video for these has already been out for a little bit, so you can go check that out if you want more details on these, but I thought that they'd be very needed in the super cold weather coming up. Then I did finish 2 pairs of Christmas socks, so if you are my husband or my brother, stop watching. I know my husband doesn't watch my videos. I'm pretty darn sure my brother doesn't either, but just in case, this is your warning to stop watching. For my husband, I made plain vanilla socks. I have been keeping them rolled just because they're gonna go in his Christmas stocking, so there was kind of no point in blocking them anyway. But these were made in Croy FX sock yarn, I believe. It's this like teal, green, blue, gray colorway. Just plain vanilla socks with a heel flap and gusset. I followed Summerly Designs SOS basic sock pattern for those to make a big men's pair of socks. Then for my brother, I used the same pattern, but I made his shorty socks because he does not wear socks that go above the ankle. These were also in Patton's Croy sock yarn. I don't remember which line this is. Maybe it was also the effects line. I'm not sure, but it's this self-striping black, teal, blue, very cool colorway. Again, with a heel flap and gusset and a very, very short ribbed cuff just at the ankle. Yeah, these were fun to work on. However, even though they were shorties, they did use up almost a whole ball of yarn each, because the Croy socks yarn comes in 50-gram skeins instead of 100 grams, so that like it's already split. I also did not make any effort with these to like match them. I figured my brother wouldn't care, so it didn't really matter. And then for my husband's socks, I actually split and used a different ball for the heels and I think for the toes, because I didn't want to split up the color striping effect. So those used like 3 balls total because they were so big. So just keep that in mind if you're planning on making socks with the Patton's Croy yarn. If you're making men's socks, you're going to have to choose a contrast color for the cuff, heels, and toes, or use the same color but separate out another ball for that, because you will definitely go through it. Oh, I forgot a couple of other purchases. We're going to go back to purchases for a second. First of all, here's the rest of those wooden rings I got on Amazon. I'm definitely going to be making a back scrubber, at least for myself, and maybe as gifts for other people, so I'm glad it came in a pack. Then at Michael's, I got next year's bullet journal, which is going to be this bright red one. I've done like teal and mint and brown in the past. This just happened to be the only other bright color that they had, so I decided to go with red for this year, even though I'm not a huge fan of red, but I think I have some stickers to put on the front that'll look cute. And then I picked this one up, which is a fabric cover. I kept leather for my everyday bullet journal because that's what all my other ones have been. But the fabric one I thought could be my yarn crafting journal because I'd like to be a little bit more intentional about how I keep track of my projects. So purchased those. And then I do have a couple stickers I'm debating between to put on the front cover of my journal. So I have this little dollar horse sticker that I got when I was in Door County. I have this mushroom and gnome sticker that I also got in Door County. I have my support your local bookstore sticker. And I have this one, which I think is going to end up being the winner, with a bracelet on it that says, ask me about my current hobby. That one feels the most accurate at the moment. So I'm still deciding which sticker I want on this year's bullet journal. And then this was something I actually got while thrifting. Looks like a little trivet, but if you pull on the handle, it turns into a little basket, and I thought this would be cute for a sock project. So picked it up at a thrift store for, I think it was like $15, which is kind of expensive, but it's definitely very antique-y, and I don't see those very often, so I was excited about that. Back into finished objects. The next one is a video that's also out at this point, but I have my 3 granny square ornament designs. If you want to check that out, that video for the tutorial for all of these is on my channel. I particularly like the Christmas tree one. And then my last finished object for right now is this sweater vest. I think I started it over the summer, trying to use up some Christmas yarn that I had in my stash. I do think it ended up quite oversized. The armholes are very big. It's very drapey. It's got like a little bit of a flare at the bottom, but I purchased some tunic length mock neck turtlenecks that are kind of like an A-line shape, and I got a dark green one and a burgundy one and actually a gray one too. So I think that this will look cute with that for the holiday season, even though it is so oversized. I made this using willow squares, so I did 2 for the shoulders, 3 across the chest. I did 1 underneath each arm and then continued the 3 across the chest in the front and the back. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on that second full row. And then after that, I knew I wasn't going to have enough to make a whole nother row of squares. So I did alternating rows of double crochet chain 1 and all double crochet. And I worked into the spaces to give it kind of like a granny stitch effect, but in groups of 2 instead of groups of 3. So excited that I actually finished a holiday project in time to wear it for the holidays. I have a tendency to want to work on holiday projects only during the month of December. So then when I finish them, I can't wear them anymore. So I was trying really hard to not do that this year, which is why I finished that one. My other project, however, is my Advent project. So this is an old Aldi candle Advent calendar. I kept it because I really like the box, and I've been putting scrap yarn in it. This is the second time I've done that, I believe, to make a scrap project. And this year, if you've been watching shorts on my channels, you will have already seen this. But this year I am making the Twinkle and Shine lights by, I forget who at the moment. I do have a short introducing this as well as a playlist on my channel for these. So I've just been making one every day. Currently, I'm a couple days ahead when filming this. By the time you see this video, I'm probably past this point already. But those are cute. And then I have a scrap project for my scrap project, because why not? So I am also making a Sophie scarf with all my leftovers in a fun stripey design. So that's been very fun. I have it in this adorable bag that I got at World Market because I was feeling festive. I have one other active whip to show you. I did want to talk about this brown yarn that's sitting here. If you were here for the last podcast episode, you know that I started the timber pullover. I have not worked on it since showing you that video. I did restart what I had like made that was the wrong size and got to a little past the same point I was at, and then worked on other things again. So this is kind of being redesignated as a long-term whip. I'll come back to it at some point, but not during the holiday season because I have other stuff I want to make. The other project that I decided I needed to just finish is my birthday scarf. This was my birthday cast on for this year. My birthday is in February, so it's been sitting in a box for a long time. The goal for this scarf was to practice color work, which I did successfully for the first half of the scarf. I used a couple of the doodle cowl designs for this. I really enjoyed the color work, but I got a little sick of doing the color work. So then I said, okay, let's use up the yarn that I got for this and just do a stripy fade for the rest of it, so that when I wear it as an infinity scarf, because that's the goal, I'll have one loop that's color work and one loop that's a fade. I am so close to being done. I have finished the yarns I was fading. I'm going to do one more block of the navy and then the multicolor and then graft it together. So I am very, very close to being done with this, which is great because I would like to wear it because it's going to be super, super warm because it is double layered. It will get 2 loops around my neck. It matches my winter coat. So this just needs to be finished. So this is now my TV knitting project, since it is purely knitting stockinette in the round, nothing fun or fancy anymore. That is all I have to show you for today. So a lot of stuff we went through. Next crafting podcast, I'll be talking more about my crafting goals for 2026, so you can look out for that. And also this month, I'm hoping to finish my Taylor Swift sock series, at least for now. Obviously, if she releases another album, I'm going to have to do another pair of socks. But at the time of filming this podcast, the only pair of socks I have left is the Reputation socks, which is my favorite album. So that one felt fitting to be the final pair of socks for that series. So hopefully that'll be out before the end of December. If not, you'll see it when it's done. It's feeling like a very busy December, so I make no promises. I do promise, however, that that is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw today and felt inspired, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. I post podcasts, video tutorials, and sometimes I just talk about yarn. And if you want to follow me on other social media platforms, that information is in the description box. Thanks again for watching. My heat has turned on. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.